If you've been trying to regulate your nervous system and nothing seems to be working, I know exactly how you feel. I tried everything: brain retraining, meditation, breathwork, somatic therapies, psychiatric medicine, psychedelics, ketamine, EMDR. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things on that list, and none of them worked. I still felt like absolute garbage while utilizing any one of those tools. So, if you're just exhausted from trying all of the things and having no progress, I know exactly what you're going through. And there's one thing that I can almost guarantee you are missing, and once I figured this out, everything changed. So, let me explain. I can almost guarantee that you are trying to regulate while fighting your current state. Every tool that you use is going to become useless if you're using it with the energy of fix this, make it stop, this needs to go away immediately. Your body and your nervous system pick up on that energy. They are aware of the subtle energy around urgency and push when it comes to any tools or tips or tactics. We aren't able to be as tricky as we think we're able to be. Using these things in an intense desire to make whatever we're feeling go away. So, when you're terrified of your symptoms, every tool that you use is just going to be another way to control versus actually give yourself support. And that's how you're probably using tools. You're using tools as an escape versus a way to support yourself. I used to have these intricate morning routines where I was doing like 6 different things. And it was just with this assumption that if I could do this the right way, if I could do it in the right order, if I could do it for the right amount of time, maybe I wouldn't panic today, maybe my symptoms would decrease, maybe this would help. But there was always this focus on I needed to do the right things in the right way. There was pressure, there was urgency, there was resistance. That same thing applies to breathwork, to journaling. I wasn't using them as a support to myself. I was using them like a fire extinguisher to just get rid of this problem, always playing whack-a-mole instead of getting to the root of why I was experiencing what I was experiencing. Your body is never going to regulate because you chose the right tool. It will only regulate once it starts to feel safe. And using these tools to escape a problem signifies to your nervous system that you are not safe. 'Cause what are we running from? Once you do start regulating because you feel safe, you actually get to use these tools with a completely different energy, and you start finding that they're working. But they're working because you shifted the way you're using them. Healing is never going to come from tools. I want to say that so explicitly. Tools can support. Tools can help. Tools can temporarily snap shift you. They will not heal the root issue. Another reason these tools are probably not working for you is because you haven't actually accepted where you are at. Your nervous system is never going to shift as long as you are resisting where you are. You have to stop fighting the state that it's actually in and expecting it to be different or to be better or to change. My baseline was no sleep, constant buzzing, constant burning, panic, terror, anxiety, insomnia. And I kept thinking that I could just regulate myself out of feeling bad. Acceptance has to come first, which is why I recorded an entire episode on my podcast, the Real Work Podcast, talking about how acceptance is pivotal in nervous system healing. Acceptance does not mean you love where you are at. It just means that there is no longer a full-blown war with what you're experiencing from day to day. Something that precedes healing is a dropping of resistance. You have to put down the fight. You have to stop fighting where you're at and knowing that if you can accept where you are, what you need to do next is going to become apparent to you. But if you resist where you are and you try to tool and tip your way out of where you're at, you're just strengthening the loop and you're going to stay in that miserable state much longer than is necessary. You're probably also doing too much too fast from fear. I used to wake up in the morning, I would check my Aura ring, I would check my stats like, how did I sleep? What's my readiness score? Open my phone, scroll my Instagram, what are my notifications? Get myself super overstimulated. And then I would scan my body for symptoms, and then I would try to meditate and do my journaling, and it was just a mess. Regulation isn't about adding 17 things to your to-do list. It's about slowing down. It's about reducing overstimulation. It's about making it easier for your body to naturally feel safe. So, my healing didn't start until I stopped doing 17 things a day and chose instead to just do one thing at a time with presence slowly. And the last thing is, you may still just be in fix-it mode. And if you're in fix-it mode, that is assuming that you are viewing yourself and your problems and your symptoms and your sensations as problems. My entire recovery era of 20 years was me trying to fight anxiety with more anxiety, trying to fight anxiety with more desire to control. My hypervigilant state of doing all the things perfectly actually looked a lot like self-care, and it wasn't self-care. It was hypervigilance disguised as self-care. Reminder that your nervous system feels that pressure, and it has so little to do with the what you're doing, and it has so much more to do with why are you doing it? What energy are you doing it from? Do you have an acceptance of where you're at? Have you made peace with the fact that you are in this situation? Or is everything you're doing coming from this place of, I must escape this. I can't handle this. I need to make it go away. Because if that is the state that you have been taking action from, I can guarantee you nothing is going to work. Nothing changes until you change the way you approach all of this. Because most of what you're doing is signaling danger, and danger keeps an already sensitized nervous system on high alert. What finally helped me regulate is when I stopped trying to regulate, and I started just letting myself be a human who was having a hard time sometimes. It happened when I stopped running from the pain, running from the anxiety, running from the symptoms, and instead, I just said, okay, this is where we're at today. This is what we have to work with. It shouldn't be any different than it is right now. I slowed down. I stopped checking data. I got rid of my Aura Ring. I got a brick device that would lock up my social media, so I wasn't unintentionally overstimulating myself. And I stopped trying to predict the future. I stopped trying to guess how this was going to look in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, and I let myself watch YouTube and bake sourdough and get outside and enjoy my life again. And sometimes I would go on walks and I would cry. I just let it unfold naturally. I stopped forcing. I stopped pushing. I stopped controlling. And I started letting my life unfold. And I started listening to what were the needs that I actually had, because one of the things that got me into this mess was overwriting the messages and the information that my body and my nervous system had been giving me for years. So sometimes you have to let yourself be the version of you that is struggling, and you need to stop making her wrong. You need to stop shaming her for that. You're doing the best that you can. And what I love about what I learned in my healing process is that a lot of the time, you need to do less. A lot of the time, you need to work easier, not harder. And slowly, your body will do what it was designed to do. It will recalibrate when it finally feels safe. So, if nothing you're doing is working, that does not mean that you're never going to heal. I promise you. And I know that it can feel like that. It most likely just means that you are trying to heal in a way that is still signaling danger to your brain. So, try doing less with more acceptance. And try shifting the energy you're using versus shifting the tool you're using. Your regulation is primarily going to start when your resistance to what is stops.